Hi guys, my name is Joanne Ingram and I am a school physical therapist for the County of San Bernardino. This video is part of the County Schools Distance Learning Program, and if you received a link to this video, that means that your child has physical therapy service in their classroom at school. This video's focus is going to be about the prone position and range of motion with stretching. So we're going to get right into it. The word prone is just a medical term for laying on your stomach. When you lay on your stomach, you're in the prone position. When you lay on your back, you're in the supine position. So there's lots of benefits to laying on your stomach, which is also called tummy time, usually with infants or very young children. So how do you know if it's okay for you to put your child on their stomach? So I have some guidelines for you, and here they go. Number one, your child is small and light enough that you can roll and lift them easily. Number two, your child may be older or heavier, but they will actively participate in rolling onto their stomach and lifting their head once they get there. Or number three, you have experience in putting your child on their stomach. You've done it many times and you know you can do it safely. So if you are able to answer yes to one or more of those guidelines, then you're okay to proceed with placing your child in the prone position. And that can be done on the floor if your child is light enough for you to transfer them back up off the floor, or on a bed or other firm surface, whatever works for you. Okay, a couple other things. No matter what size your child is, if they have a G-tube or a tracheostomy, or maybe both, don't put them on their stomach unless you have experience doing it. If you've already been trained in how to work around those items, you've done it many times and you know you can do it safely, then you can proceed. But if it's going to be the first time, don't do it. Now is not the time to try anything new or different. The best way to stay safe is to stay with what you know. And one more thing for those parents with older children. If your older child has very limited mobility, maybe they're significantly heavier than 50 pounds, I'm recommending that you don't try to put them on their stomach. Now it might seem, as you look at them, that rolling them onto their stomach is a pretty simple, straightforward thing. But in reality, it can be a lot harder than you might think it is. Older kids that don't have a lot of mobility will typically have very low head control and will possibly have developed tendon tightness in their legs or shoulders. So not only is it going to be very difficult, a lot of hard work to get them over onto their stomach, it's going to be almost impossible to get them into a good, safe position that they can tolerate for any amount of time. So don't put those older, heavier kids onto their stomach if they're not helping. Stay with the range of motion and stretching while they're laying on their back. So the first half of the video is the prone position. Range of motion and stretching will be in the second half. So we're ready to go ahead and start the demonstration. Let me get my assistant, Jake. I'll be right back. So here we are with Jake, and I have Jake on the floor so that it's easy for me to film and have you be able to see what he's doing. So all I'm going to do is show you a technique for rolling Jake from his back onto his stomach. So if your kid is very small and light, it's a pretty easy, simple thing to do. But as you can see, Jake is jumbo size. He's like 6 feet tall. So he's perfect to use to show you this. So if your child has enough range in their shoulders, you're going to start by moving one arm up out of the way. You'll bring the other arm across his body because we're going to roll this way. And what I'm going to do is bend his leg. Just let your leg bend. Just leave it right there. Thank you. And I'm just going to bring that knee across and give him some little prompts to come over onto his chest. So if he ends up, he's so tall, laying on his arm like this, I'm just gonna, just relax. Just gonna lift his shoulder a little bit and slowly slide it out. Then I'll bring this one back so he's nice and even on his stomach. All right, come on back, Jake. Here, let me adjust so you guys can see. So if your child does not have enough range in their shoulder for you to put their arm up over their head, which is really pretty common, what you're going to do is turn the arm palm up, the arm on the side of the direction you're going to go, snug it into his body, bring the other arm across, and once again bend his leg, and just bring that knee over, and there he goes. Now he's laying on his arm on this side. I'm just going to slide it out and bring it up. So it's not a problem at all to roll over their arms. You're just going to slide them out once they get there. And that's your technique for rolling a bigger child. Thank you, Jake. Okay, this is my other assistant, Andy, and we're just going to show you a few things that you can do when your child is in the prone position, laying on their stomach. And this is Diablo, visiting too. So the first thing you're going to do is just try to get them to lift their head. And you can do that by using interesting toys, preferred objects, or just getting down and talking to them and trying to get their attention. Come on, lift your head, Andy. Well, not that high.
No.
Just to there, we'd be happy with that much. Okay, so just lifting their head and getting them to interact with you, to smile or to look at toys. Any way you can do it, just try to get them to lift into the middle and hold there as long as possible. Okay, back down. So the next thing we want to do is work on them lifting their chest. So younger children will do it with their arms extended out in front of them, and they'll press their chest up with their arms extended. So if you're getting that from your child, that's excellent, that's right. It's a good step for them to work on. And once again, from this position, if you're giving them interesting toys or objects, now they're set up to go ahead and try to reach for them. So once they're here, if they want to interact with something in their environment, they're going to have to stabilize one arm and to use the other one to reach. Good. Okay, so go ahead and come back down again, Andy. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the prone prop on elbows. So propping up on the elbows can be difficult for some kids. So this is how you're going to assist them. You're just going to start sliding their elbows in underneath them and push them forward until they're nice and stable on a 90-degree elbow. If you need to hold it for them so they can stabilize, you can do that. And once again, giving them something to reach for, go ahead and reach, is a great way to progress this activity. That's not only working on their head control and stabilization, but building the strength in their muscles and chest and starting to work on stabilizing so they can not only reach for objects, but move on to crawling. Okay, thank you, Andy. So I'm going to show you how to assist your child to get onto their hands and knees in a crawling position. And I'm going to show you with my son, Jake, who is over 6 feet tall. So obviously, if your child is older and larger, it's a lot more work than if your child is super young and small. So if you find that you're not comfortable doing it, or you don't even want to try because it seems like it's going to be super difficult, that's fine. Stay with what you're comfortable doing. So, Jake obviously can move independently, and so I'm going to have him simulate being unable to move voluntarily. Okay, so I'm going to start by bending one knee and bringing it up. And to hold it there, I'm going to put my leg on the outside. Okay, as I shift Jake over toward that leg and bring the other leg up, help me a little bit, Jake. I'm going to shift my other leg over and pull back. So as I bend his legs, I'm pulling him back toward me. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is lift through the chest and try to get his arms underneath him so they're pretty much in line under his shoulders. So once I have him here into the hands and knees position, if your child has high tone or spasticity, what you'll see is they'll try to straighten those legs and they'll end up out here again. So just come back to where you were, Jake. So your main work is going to be pulling those hips back toward the legs. If your child is small, you can just block those legs and keep them in the bent position with your knees. Okay? If your child, once again, is younger or smaller, you can probably hold around the hips while you adjust their hands into a good position. Okay? If they're heavier, bigger kids, when you, go ahead, bend your arms a little bit. As you lift them from the chest, use your forearm to sweep those arms forward into a good position for weight bearing. Okay, also, if you're having trouble keeping them in the bent leg position, go ahead and use your body weight to put weight straight down through those legs so they can't straighten out and end up back on their stomach. Once they're there and you're holding them, you're keeping those arms out. Bend a little bit, there you go. You can just work with little movements, once again, little pushes, little stabilizations to give them the idea that you want them to stay there in that hands and knees position. Okay, thank you, Jake. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right there. I know I said I was going to do passive range of motion, but what I'm going to do is a separate video for the range of motion so that this video is short enough for me to put it on YouTube in case any of you are having trouble opening the email links that I'm sending out. So once again, this video has been the prone position, reaching in prone, and shifting your child up into the hands and knees position. And if your child isn't able to do that, or they're too heavy for you to do that with them, then watch for the next video and I'll show you passive range of motion in the back line or supine position. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay home.